Welcome everybody, and today we're taking a look at a brand new 4K limited edition from Arrow Video, and it is 1990s Nightbreed. So this is directed by Clive Barker, who only did 3 films in terms of his directorial career. Most well known for doing Hellraiser, but he also did Lord of Illusions, which I have yet to see. I've been waiting for a more high quality version of the director's cut to come out because like this film, this got kind of butchered when it came to the theatrical release. But nonetheless, this is a dark fantasy horror, and depending on which version you watch, it's either 102 or 121 minutes long. Stars like Sir Craig Sheffer, who was in Fire in the Sky, David Cronenberg, who's obviously more well known for being a director, but he has acted here and there. He was more recently in the likes of Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. You've also got Charles Hayde, who was in Who Will Stop the Rain and Cop. And finally, Hugh Quarshie, who was in the likes of Highlander and Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So a troubled young man is drawn to a mythical place called Midian, where a variety of friendly monsters are hiding from humanity. Meanwhile, a sadistic serial killer is looking for a patsy. So I watched the director's cut of this version, of this film even, and whether or not that version is superior or not is quite frankly irrelevant, because for the most part I really enjoyed what I saw. This is a well-paced film that has a mostly superb practical effects with a huge variety of monsters and designs on the go here. It's just really impressive that there's such a wide variety, and that from what I can see that everything looks convincingly executed. The action scenes are glorious, especially in the final half hour or so, where pretty much everything is exploding. There's people being shot. There's a lot of violence and such, and yeah, all of that is just really well and well executed. It's a film that ultimately keeps me engrossed throughout. Yes, it's probably a little long alongside at more than 2 hours, being the director's cut, but I'd rather that than have less and less running time and a more confusing plot, which some people have said that's what the theatrical version is like. It has a good world building to it when it comes to the likes of Midian and the whole kind of process of becoming one of the Nightbreed. The score by Danny Elfman is great. It's probably one of my favourites from him. This is right during his period of where he was doing banger after banger, doing the Batman films and then this, and then obviously he'd go on to do like Spider-Man and such. So yeah, another great effort from him. And overall, the production is solid when it either comes to the action scenes, with the explosions looking really rather quite large and impactful, to the practical effects of the monsters, and the general violence that comes with the serial killer aspect of this film. Now, sure, this isn't without its flaws, such as the somewhat shallow plot. Yes, there is some thematic weight to it, in terms of, monsters not necessarily being the bad kind. They might look different to us and such, but that does not necessarily mean that they are evil or out to harm anyone. The cast is not the most memorable, unfortunately. Certainly not a all-star cast in this, but I can see that maybe Barker was going for people that are more suited to the role rather than being, big stars. And at the end of the day, with the cast being, relatively unknown, means that you can throw more of that money in the budget towards, the production value and such, which certainly looks like to be the case. And the script is not quite developed enough to make for a wholly satisfying experience. But quite frankly, taken in by far too many of the positive aspects to really care about any of those issues. So yeah, gets a solid 4 out of 5. I rank this right alongside Hellraiser, to be honest, which I still enjoy it a lot, but I think some people probably enjoy it a hell of a lot more than me. But yeah, still got a really nice limited edition here. It's a hard box kind of release that Arrow Video have done several of lately. Nothing on the reverse, so just some copyright guff. And then we also have 2 discs with this release. So we have the theatrical cut, which clocks in at 102 minutes long, and then the director's cut, which clocks in at 121 minutes long, and both are on 4K, which is not usually the case. We usually get one or the other with certain releases. We also get a double-sided poster, which has the original artwork and some new artwork included. So yeah, there's the original artwork that we've shown already on the hard box, and then there's new artwork, which I kind of like a lot, to be honest. So that is the sadistic serial killer, as stated earlier. We also get a booklet with this release, with the same kind of artwork again. And inside you get images from the film, as well as cast and crew, The Monstrous and the Dead, Looking Back on Nightbreed by Mark Salisbury, Cabal, The Delirium of Monsterdom by Phil and Sarah Stokes, about the presentation and production credits and special thanks as well. So yeah, there's, like I said, such a wide variety of monster effects and such as this guy. And then you've also got you also have Doug Bradley in this, who obviously was most well known for playing Pinhead in the Hellraiser films, but is in a much smaller role in this one than in those. In fact, that is him himself. So he plays like kind of the elder of the Nightbreed. And yeah, then we've got about the presentation itself. So the theatrical cut and director's cut of Nightbreed are both presented in the original aspect ratio of 1:85:1, with stereo and 5.1 audio. Both versions are presented in 4K resolution in HDR10 and Dolby Vision. The theatrical cut master was restored from the best available film elements by Shout Factory in 2023. The 4K master for the director's cut, however, by ESC Films, is a composite of the theatrical cut 2023 master and upscaled sections from the high definition master of the director's cut produced by Shout Factory in 2014, as the film elements for the unique footage were no longer available. ESC also performed additional grading on both versions. Additional grading and restoration work was completed by Fidelity in Motion, and additional audio restoration was completed by Borstein Gilslason. So, yeah, to be honest, I couldn't tell the difference between what was the theatrical cut and the director's cut in terms of the image quality. I know they said here that they have effectively upscaled the sections that are for the director's cut only, but in all honesty, it flowed so well that I really didn't notice any major differences. I'm sure there will be some people out there that will take frame by frame and show you where there are issues here and there, but to be honest, I think it looked really, really good, and the 5.1 audio sounded excellent, especially when it comes to the action scenes in that final half hour. And then we have a whole host of extras on the discs themselves. But in terms of the film itself, you've got the optional lossless 2.0 stereo audio and the optional DTS HD MA 5.1 audio for both cuts. So you can choose between either. You've got optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing for both cuts. And the new artwork was done by Gilles Vranks. And then on the first disc, which is a theatrical cut, we have audio commentary by critics Adrian J. Smith and David Flint, vintage introduction by writer-director Clive Barker, Monsters, Maniacs and Midian, the making of Nightbreed, a brand new feature-length documentary incorporating never-before-seen interviews and behind-the-scenes footage shot on location at Pinewood Studios for an electronic press kit in 1989, Memories of Midian, an interview with actor Nicholas Vince, Walking the Line Between Heaven and Hell, an interview with critic Kat Ellinger, Speaking Up for the Monsters, an interview with critic Kim Newman, deleted and alternate scenes, extended torture scene, theatrical trailers and TV spots, extensive image galleries including early sketches and set photos, poster and pre-production art, as well as stills from the UK launch party at Tower Records and more, plus the original screenplay. Now on the second disc, which is the director's cut, you got an introduction by Barker and restoration producer Mark Allen Miller, audio commentary by Barker and Miller, brand new commentary by critics Kim Newman and Stephen Jones, and Barker collaborator Peter Atkins, brand new commentary by Miller and director's cut editor Andrew Furtado, Tribes of the Moon, Making Nightbreed, an extensive documentary on the making of the film featuring actors Craig Sheffer, Doug Bradley, and Bobby, and many more. You got Making Monsters, a documentary on the film's creature designs, which, like I said earlier, are a big standout for this film. They look absolutely excellent. Featuring special makeup designer Bob Keane. You got firefights, stunts, an interview with second unit director Andy Armstrong. Cutting Compromise, an interview with editor Mark Goldblatt. The Painted Landscape, an exploration of the work of concept artist Ralph McQuarrie. Monster Prosthetics Masterclass, an interview with Keane on the film's incredible prosthetic effects. Matte painting tests, makeup tests, an exploration of the film's abandoned stop motion animation tests with special makeup designer Bob Keane, rehearsal test, and then a Johnny Get Angry music video. So yeah, a huge amount of extras there across both discs, quite frankly. And then on top of that, you've also got two audio options, two cuts of the film. So yeah, all in all, seems like a really, really comprehensive release. Now, obviously, some people are obviously going to take issue with those old upscaling aspects to the director's cut, but like I said, I didn't notice any of it, to be honest, in terms of inconsistencies between what was the 4K version done by Shout Factory to the upscaling. Now that just could be that I don't really notice these things all that much. Although I will say it does look better than the Blu-ray that our video put out a few years back. But still, didn't really notice any of the upscaling issues in all honesty. So yeah, I do highly recommend getting this film. Um, Either on this 4K or you're just going to get an older Blu-ray. But regardless, see the film. It is excellent regardless of which iteration you are watching it. But like I said, I've only seen the director's cut, so I'm not sure how much worse the theatrical cut is, whether or not it's any better, any better pace or anything like that. But because obviously it is, 19 minutes shorter. But still, the director's cut is fantastic, and I'm glad that Clive Barker was able to put his vision out there rather than just the theatrical version. So, which is usually the case. Usually, the director's cut never gets a release. So, yeah, I'm glad that that has happened now. In this version, I'm not sure whether or not it happened with the Blu-ray version of the from the Hour Video one. I can't seem to find it myself at the moment. I know I have it somewhere, but regardless, it's on 4K now in both versions. So now you can see the see it in the best version possible. So yeah, but nonetheless, if you have seen Nightbreed, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.